This is the coffee maker that let me stop choosing between a quick solo cup and a carafe that stays hot long after breakfast. It fits into my life without asking me to change my routine, and that is the part that surprised me most. I think of the Keurig K Duo plus single serve and carafe coffee maker as a flexible kitchen tool for people like me who switch between a fast cup on busy mornings and a shared pot on slower weekends. I'm not trying to be a barista, I just need coffee that tastes good, arrives fast, and stays hot without babysitting a hot plate. This machine sits in that sweet spot. The design looks clean and intentional. It has a tall, slim profile that claims less counter space than most machines I have owned. The thermal carafe feels solid, not flimsy, and it does not need a hot plate, so the coffee inside does not cook or turn bitter over time. The water reservoir is the underrated feature here. I can place it on the left, on the right, or behind the machine, and that simple flexibility makes it easy to fit in a cramped corner. The controls are straightforward, with clear buttons and a small display that tells me what mode I am in. I swap between pod brewing and ground coffee with a quick change of the insert in the brew head. There is no mystery to it. It clicks in and it is ready. Setup the first day was simple. I rinsed the carafe, ran a cleansing brew with water, and I was making a cup a few minutes later. I use filtered water because it helps taste and maintenance, and the machine seems to appreciate that. Warm up for a single cup is quick. From button press to mug, the first cup of the day usually lands in about 2 minutes. Back-to-back cups are faster because the machine is already hot. For a full carafe, it takes longer, as expected, but not by much. The pace feels efficient without being rushed, and the pump noise is a low hum rather than a sharp buzz, so early mornings do not feel like I am firing up a power tool. What matters most is the coffee itself. On the single-serve side, I get consistent taste from one cup to the next. The strong brew button slows the flow and extracts a little more, which I notice when I am using lighter roasts or when I want a more robust cup without adding extra grounds. It is not trying to imitate a manual pour-over, and that is fine. It delivers a reliable cup that I can predict. The temperature is hot enough that I see steam when it lands in the mug, and it stays drinkable without scalding. On the carafe side, I use cone paper filters with medium grind coffee. The result is smooth and even across the pot, without over-extraction at the end. The thermal carafe keeps coffee hot for hours without that baked, stale taste that happens on a warming plate. I can pour a second cup an hour later and it still tastes like it came off a fresh brew. The spout does not dump liquid all at once. It pours in a controlled stream, which helps prevent drips, though I do find that I need to flip the lid open fully to avoid a slow trickle. That lid action is a minor quirk. It is not difficult, just something I had to learn. A few real-life moments stand out. During the week, I am usually in a rush. I drop in a K-cup pod, set the cup size I want, and press start. By the time I have grabbed a spoon and a splash of milk, the coffee is ready. No fiddling. The taste is the same on Monday as it is on Thursday, which matters when I need caffeine more than ceremony. On Saturdays when friends come over, I grind fresh beans, load the basket, and brew a full carafe. People linger longer because the coffee stays hot without me apologizing for a burnt aftertaste. In the afternoon, if I feel like one more cup but do not want to commit to a pot, the single-serve side is ready without making me clean a bunch of parts. Speed and responsiveness are only part of the story. Ease of use shows up in small touches. The pause and pour function lets me grab a cup from the carafe while it is still brewing. The flow stops long enough that I do not make a mess on the warming base, and the carafe picks up right where it left off. The programmable auto-brew is something I rely on during the work week. I set the carafe to start about 15 minutes before my alarm, and the kitchen smells like coffee when I walk in. I can schedule it up to 24 hours ahead, and it remembers the last settings I used. That is the kind of convenience that becomes part of my morning without me thinking about it. I have tested different scenarios over the past year and a half. Travel mug mornings are easy. I remove the drip tray, slide a tall mug under the spout, and brew directly. No spills. For lighter roasts, I tap the strong brew button. For darker roasts, I leave it off. When I am working from home and sipping over a long stretch, the thermal carafe shines. I brew a smaller pot and it stays at a pleasant temperature without any burnt edge. On days when I want less waste, I use a reusable pod with my own grounds for single cups. Cleanup is simple afterward. I toss the paper filter from the carafe, rinse the basket, and give the carafe a quick wash with a soft brush. The exterior wipes clean with a damp cloth because there is no hot plate ring to scrub. There are a few limitations I have learned to live with. The machine is tall, so it needs proper clearance under a cabinet when I want to add water from above. The reservoir can move to the side, which helps, but I still pull it forward a bit on a deep counter. The strong brew button improves body, but it will not transform a weak pod into a bold artisan cup. Good beans still matter. The carafe lid clicks firmly, which is nice for heat retention, but the first time I tried to pour without fully opening it, the flow was slower than I expected. None of these are deal breakers for me. They are just honest parts of owning it. Reliability has been solid. Over months of daily use, it has not clogged or sputtered. The machine prompts me to descale, and when that appeared, I ran a descale cycle with solution and water, and it cleared the alert. Since then, I have kept up with filtered water and occasional cleaning, and the performance has stayed steady. Buttons still click with a clean feel. The carafe seal still holds heat. The brew head still closes with a confident latch. A small thing I appreciate is how the machine encourages both spontaneity and planning. If I decide I want a cup right now, it is a minute away. If I know tomorrow is going to be hectic, I set the auto-brew and wake up to the sound of coffee hitting steel. That kind of flexibility is why this sits on my counter instead of a more specialized machine that only does one thing well. I also like that I can host without thinking. Brew a full pot, set out mugs, let people help themselves. The last cups taste like the first. The unique touches that make a daily difference for me are the multi-position water reservoir that adapts to my counter, the thermal carafe that actually holds heat without ruining taste, the pause and pour that saves me from impatient moments, and the simple swap between pod and ground coffee inserts. None of these are flashy on a spec sheet, but in daily use they matter more than exotic features I would never touch. I think of the Keurig K Duo Plus as a dependable kitchen teammate. If my routine looks like a mix of solo mornings, relaxed weekend breakfasts, and the occasional group hang, this machine fits. If I were a strict manual brew person chasing a very specific extraction curve, I would probably stick with those tools. For my real life, where consistency and convenience carry weight, this is the right balance. I would recommend this to anyone whose coffee life mirrors mine. People who want a reliable single cup during the week and a no-fuss carafe on the weekend will appreciate how it simplifies mornings and gatherings. The coffee is hot, consistent, and easy to repeat. The machine is flexible without being complicated. The small annoyances are manageable and do not get in the way of the main promise. If this video helped, please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your questions or your own experience with this machine. Thank you for watching.